Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fancy Rugby Yanks. My name is Jared Dyke.
I'm Ben Glauser.
And with us, of course, is the Mr. James Herrick. How are you, good friend?
I'm good. Good evening, I should say, at 6:37 p.m. on a fine Wednesday evening.
Yeah, we're getting there.
All is well.
Yeah, you still alive?
Yeah, looking forward to playing a little touch rugby this weekend. First time in a long time.
Saw that.
So, that's all I could ask for right now. It's step by step.
Right. Yeah, just get back to some normalization, I suppose, when we can.
Yep.
Feels better. Feels better. All right, I have a beer and I'm cracking it. Ben, do you have a beer this time?
I have a beer.
Attaboy. Ben was a little under the level last week.
It's
hey, what do you got?
It's the Devil's Purse from South Dennis. It's a Cape Cod beer. It's a Kölsch, as they say in Germany.
Nice.
From Cologne.
Nice. So. The one I have is actually from a brewery right around the corner from my house, which is really nice.
This is good.
And I got me a lamplighter from Cambridge.
Attaboy. That's always a good one. Okay. Just to get a few things out of the way. Check out George, our buddy, the Fancy Rugby Geek. We again thank George so much for that 100th and steering that ship, because God knows that ship would have gone down like the Titanic had he not helped us out. So let's be real about that. So buy the man a coffee and go ahead and look up his tips and make sure that, especially with the Six Nations opening up this weekend, everybody's going to still kind of be going, I don't know, a little bit, unless you go read his column. And make sure you get your TRM upgrades. They did do.
They have a deal on now.
Yeah, I think it's over by the time where people will hear this for us. Sorry, they are doing their part with their upgrades by donating a portion to Restart Rugby in the RPA. So get on that. That's a big one. That only helps the guys in the game and kind of sort themselves out with that one. And then, as always, Black Lives Matter with this podcast, especially. We had, this is not rugby related, but it is Black Lives related. James, you probably saw this. Ian Wright had a bit of abuse sent his way because a kid was playing a video game as him and did not like the way the game went. So he started sending Ian Wright super racist, abusive messages. And I guess they came down with some sort of verdict today, and it was very light-handed. It was a slap on the wrist or even less, and Ian Wright was not happy, and I don't blame him whatsoever. That is just the lawyer said had a rush of blood to the head. I'm like, if you do that and you kill somebody, I'm pretty sure you usually have to pay for it, so I'm just going to go ahead and look this way.
Now, if I remember back in the day when I lived in the UK and Ian Wright was sort of in his prime playing for Arsenal, he was never a guy you wanted to mess with. He was a kind of a scary enforcer. I mean, incredible player.
You're spot on.
He was an enforcer, and he's actually a hilarious human being.
Oh, I follow him on Twitter. I love him. I love following him on Twitter.
Yeah. So, and of all things, and there's also, if anybody has time, there's a great clip on YouTube where he's, it's relatively old. It's something from the BBC. I forget if he was at Emirates or if he was at Highbury or whatever before the Emirates. He's in the stands and he sees his old school teacher, Mr. Pigden, who he thought had died years before. And this guy was a father figure to him and is the most gut-wrenching, sort of just emotional, he's becomes a little boy again. Ian Wright immediately takes off his hat. He's like, Mr. Pigden, I thought you died. And it's just, I'm in tears every time I watch it.
That's cool. All right, that's cool. I'll have to check that out.
Ian Wright is a legend.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate that the decision was made that was made. Yeah, he exercised forgiveness to the kid, but he was also expecting the kid to get punished as well. So I was like, yeah, he was being nice and saying, I forgive him for being dumb and stupid, but he still should have paid the price. But hey, call me nuts, So that's what that is. Ben, we had quite a bit of player moves. Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, I am getting way too far ahead of myself. We have something really cool that we're going to do, Ben and I. So we did episode 100. Yeah. Hold on to your seats, kids.
I don't know how much we were drinking when we were thinking of this.
I was, this is a scary thought. I was 100% sober when I thought of this.
Yeah.
You were dry. You were not dry, were you? Yeah, I was right.
No, it was midday. I was working. No way.
Fair enough. Lie. As he drinks his beer.
It's not like it was a weekend.
Yeah, so obviously we did 100 the other week. What's next for us? We're going to do a Super Saturday Watchathon, the last Saturday of Six Nations. We're going to be watching rugby for 24 hours straight, give or take. And we're going to raise money for the Greater Boston Food Bank. If you don't want to donate to Greater Boston Food Bank, this is a time where we're going to encourage you to go to any sort of food bank or the like, and give what you can, whether it's food or money. This is definitely a time where people need that. So, but for us on the side, we're going to be going Greater Boston Food Bank, and we'll have event sites up probably within the week. So, yeah, this is going to be really fun. What day is that? Is it the 20th that we're doing that?
The weekend of March 20th.
Yeah,
so
that one.
It starts Saturday the 20th to the 21st.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get some friends to kind of help pull us over, especially when we're in the wee hours of the morning. We're gonna need somebody to pull us over the line there.
Right.
Somebody wake up and help us, because we're gonna need lots of coffee.
Need someone coffee and someone else to talk to besides each other.
Yeah, because I'm gonna get mad with you at some point anyway. So let's be real about this.
What? Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna be doing that. We're gonna start a heavy push for that real soon here. We'll at least start mentioning it on our Twitter feeds here. But other than that, yeah. So keep your eyes peeled, and we'll try. I will do my damnedest to try and make sure this thing ends up on YouTube. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless, right? It's not really a good point of it. Nobody wants to watch a recording of 24 hours. It's not fun. They just want to be able to pop in and say, "Hey," and call us stupid and move on. Right. Okay. With that, news cycle, we did have quite a bit of player movement, and out of primarily one location, quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, it's always interesting to see exoduses. We've kind of seen them in the past. Wasps, obviously, was one we touched on a lot. We're seeing one out of Bath now.
Mercer, Judge, and Chudley. All leaving within like 24 hours. Well, at the announcing their early,
announcing, right. Yeah, and they're bringing some replacements in, but still, that's an odd thing to see, especially when you have some, not so much Chuds, but Mercer and Judge are not terribly old. These are guys who should be like franchise guys.
Right.
Moving on quickly. I mean, Judge, yeah, he's bounced around a bit already, but he seemed like he had a home there.
Correct.
Well, one thing I'll say probably about Zach Mercer, right, is that he hasn't really gotten a look with Eddie Jones' squad. The main reason England players stay in England because they're going to play for England.
Right.
That's not looking good. I mean, there's so much more money out there in France and Japan, and he's going to Montpellier, and he's going to live that French life.
They splash the cash.
Fit in great there.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah. He'll be fine.
This is great for him. He's definitely making the right move.
If I was a professional rugby player, God, if I wish I was sometimes.
Don't we all?
Yeah, right.
And and I played for a country that I didn't have to necessarily live, play for that home union's club side. I'd go to France in a heartbeat. Although, just from hearing from stories from James Haskell and people like that went over, about the French players having cheese and wine and cigarettes, and then going right out to the training paddock. I just don't know if I could do that.
I'm not sure I would be into that. I'd let you do that, but I'm gonna pass. Good Lord. They did, as Ben said, Bath did find at least one replacement. Jaco Kutsia is on his way to the rec. It's interesting how this whole thing with the South African teams joining the Pro 14 is going to take place, because there's still a couple of odd teams out from the clubs down there. So you're going to see, I think, formerly known as Stormers is going to be one of them. I think the other two. I think one of the other two that's currently in the Pro 14 is staying, and one's getting the kick. And I think the one that's getting the kick is the Cheetahs, because it seems like a lot of their players are just going everywhere.
Yeah, bounced.
Yeah, so it seems it. So we'll see how that goes. Santiago Cecino on his way to Gloucester to help replace the departed. Was it Hansen? I think
Chibba Hansen. Yeah. Is he back in Australia?
That's where he's headed.
Yeah, most of these Aussie guys, I think, are probably going to head back because, it's just I mean, you could say the grass is always greener, but it's far greener over there because COVID doesn't exist. And, you get to sort of live your life. So
2 weeks, 2 weeks of lockdown, you can live your life.
Yeah,
it's not a bad trade
over there and things like that. So, it's just that playing as a foreign Aussie guy playing rugby in the UK or Europe, you go there for the culture and the experience, and you're not going to get that right now. You can't even go down the pub. Yeah. And that's, I think, the big, a huge draw. That's rugby. It's the culture. It's the fact that you can't really get together with your team, go get a couple pints with your mates. I think it's a lot of reason why people are going back to their home nations that, I'd say just Australians and Kiwis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of,
I can go home and have a beer with the team after the game. Yeah.
Don't blame them. Yeah. Speaking of Kiwis, Heem and Taufua are both potentially on their way back to New Zealand after cutting bait and canceling their contracts with immediate effect.
Well, isn't Jordan Taufua going to Lyon?
Is that where he's headed?
Yeah.
I did not hear that part.
Yeah. Immediate effect. I don't know what the story is there. I haven't dove too deep into it, but I thought he was enjoying Leicester. He was certainly one of their only bright stars.
Yeah, one of the best ball carriers for sure.
Right.
No doubt about that. And he was always he's such a talented player, but it can be tough to fit in on Toulon sometimes. There's plenty of players that have found a tough life there. So I don't blame him if he's ready to cut bait and go home by any means whatsoever. And Super Rugby should be pretty good this year too. So, you got a couple opportunities because some players have jumped ship to Japan or elsewhere, and so that opens up a few doors as well. So we shall see what these guys do. Fun. Lions tour still to South Africa at this point, which is
I can't believe that. I don't. Yeah, you've seen in the news that Rugby Australia has reached out and said, "Well,
I have."
Yeah, that would be such a great idea.
Opportunistic bastards.
Yeah.
It makes no sense whatsoever. I know Rugby Australia needs money, but I think South Africa as a country deserves the tour, obviously. I don't think they should have it this year. I know there's a worry that people are going to, it's going to affect the whole Lions tour. I think it's a safe thing to do is to not have it, because if you can't have touring Brits and the Irish come over and you can't have people at games, it's not worth it, especially that tour. The best thing about that tour, and I've read it from other players, is when they look up and see a sea of red, so I think if they could hold off for another year, do it in 2022, even though it's a year before the Rugby World Cup, I think you're going to get a better experience.
I like the Australia idea. It sucks. You're right. But I can't see it happening the year before the World Cup, because it's a tour that guys are going to come back blown
battered.
Out. They're going to need some recovery time, and so it can compound on injuries after that. And I'm not sure a lot of national team coaches would want their players doing that so close. Yeah, I think those to me are the two best options. Either do it in Australia, and they've offered to say, look, we'll do it. Well, everything above cost is going to South Africa. I think it's the safest way to do it, and the most responsible way to do it anyway. And it would be kind of interesting. It would certainly be something memorable, right? It would be like, oh, they're gonna, we're still gonna have the South Africa matches, but we're doing it in Australia. That would be, and you'd have crowds, you'd have, all the things that make the Lions tour, at least with as far as fan engagement, just with different fans. And now you get they're,
be very curious to see. I'd be very curious to see how the fans would split there between their dislike for the Brits and their dislike for the Boks.
Right. Well, there's plenty of expats from both countries there. There's a lot of South Africans in Perth.
Interesting.
And they always pop up playing for Western Force.
That's true. That's true.
There's always a few South Africans sprinkled in there. And, there's plenty of Brits, English guys at least for sure, that live in Australia. Because let's face it, it's just a nicer England. Better looking people.
There you go.
Yeah, beaches. But pubs, you get pubs, it's like
beaches and pubs. That's not so bad.
What could you ask for?
Right.
But so would they the question is, would they just have the 3 main games, or would they bring in a couple other teams? The whole point of that.
I think they play the Rugby Australia franchises. Honestly, that'd be the likeliest scenario.
Oh, that is just weird, huh? If you think about that.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just they need some tune-up games, and you don't need every. They don't need to play as many games as they did last time in New Zealand. I think it's well established and it's been accepted. So that's the good news. But I think that's probably the best option, because you don't want to have to wait. You really don't want to pay for two or three of the South African franchises to come over, because Rugby South Africa needs the money, and they don't want to spend that much. They weren't planning on that, remember?
The Springboks themselves, though, haven't played a test match since the World Cup final.
Right.
So,
well, that's Razzie's fault.
When are they going to fit that in? Because those guys need to get out there and actually play rugby.
I think that's more the thing.
Argentina proved that's not necessarily
true. Very true. Very true.
But I think not having a test match for 2 years would be pretty tough on the Boks.
That's a little different. It's a little different.
That'd be pretty darn tough. I think what Argentina did was special, but I think to expect the same type of result
what they could do
another year later.
What they could do if they wanted to do this, they send, the Safas over to Australia early, and they play against the island nations. So they play against Fiji.
There we go.
Now we're cooking with something. And then both all the countries get something out of it too. Gate proceeds, shit like that.
Yep.
And then so they're there for a little bit, and then the Lions fly in, and
let's put together an email and let's send it over. This is a great idea.
Yeah. Who can we get a hold of right now?
To whom it's concerned.
Probably nobody, but that's all right. That's fair enough.
Let's get some Max, then he'll take care of the rest of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he can get on the horn with like the likes of Keith Wood and stuff like that. So
apparently, yeah.
But he can't reply to my emails.
He doesn't like you. That's all I know. He doesn't like you. Speaking of MLR, couple of developments have happened over the last couple of weeks. We're about 45 days from kickoff here, something like that. So the Legion have moved out of San Diego for what will be the foreseeable future for this season to Las Vegas. To obviously San Diego's a fucking nightmare when it comes to COVID. So time it's a good decision.
How is Vegas somehow better? It's the least responsible city on earth.
That might be true. But the casinos are really not operating well at a high capacity right now. So you can't just go gamble half your life away if you're one of the players. So it sounds like a bad idea, but at the same time, there's a lot of facilities that aren't being used there right now. So that's the upside.
The best time to make this bad idea.
Yeah, they're going to become the San Vegas Legion.
Yeah, something like that.
The San Vegas Gamblers.
Good Lord. And then, but yeah, our neighbors to the north are going to fly to Atlanta, which is not a bad idea in terms of the city and warmth, at least, and share home city with Rugby Atlanta for the season as well. So try and keep them in the country, because otherwise we're going to have a hard time getting through borders here.
Yeah, I think that's kind of tough.
It's I was curious as to how they're going to handle that, because the NHL, all those all the Canadian hockey teams are just playing each other. Everybody's playing within their conference this year. Yeah, but the Canadian teams, are just playing themselves, not coming to the US, and vice versa. Right. It'll be interesting. It's going to be, an interesting third season, hopefully a full season, because there's so much potential there.
Yeah.
Will there be crowds? We don't know. No idea. I don't think early games there will be in certain places. Yeah, I agree with that. It's a huge bummer, but just the way some of these professional teams here in the Northeast can't even, you're not allowed anybody. So right, yeah, some of the full-on professional teams. Why would us lowly rugby players get something? So. Unlikely at this point, but keep the fingers crossed and hope. I mean, seriously, I'm really excited for it. Same. I think it's going to be a great third season. They've got some big names on some of these teams. Billy Meeks playing for the Giltinis.
Mm-hmm.
That was a random one because he just signed for London Irish.
Yeah, I think he's on his way here after last week.
Is that was his final game?
I think so. Maybe
yeah,
one.
I think they mentioned.
Yeah, they did mention he's leaving soon. So,
right. I thought they'd mentioned it was his last match, but I could be.
Yeah, I could be off base on that one. Yeah, they have some interesting signings. There's a lot of fun signings that are going on despite all the bullshit that's going on. So I do want to see them play. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see what this league looks like and how it develops as this third, fourth season, whatever it is.
I mean, shout out to the Free Jacks for putting in a pretty good protocol. They're all their players that just arrived are
in
quarantined for 10 days. I mean, these guys,
these poor fuckers look miserable.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, give them a round of applause for putting that into play because that's smart and responsible.
Yep.
And I think really at the end of the day, they're very, from the outside looking in, they look like an organized organization. I could use a better word. But I think, I think that it's going to put them ahead of some of these teams. So
I hope so. I won't complain if it does. I'll tell you that much.
As long as they can keep it responsible and keep the players buying in.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it.
That's
it seems like
key,
right. And it seems like Martin's
no
got
gender
his
reveal
straight.
parties, boys. No gender reveal parties.
Well, yeah, that's there are going to be certainly some games that maybe not happen, unfortunately, because some players are going to get it,
and travel is going to be at some point going to be interrupted.
Yeah,
through there. You got to anticipate it at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get the majority of the games in, and we have a season, and we can crown a champion, and hopefully we can watch, maybe go see a game or two, and have a couple of pints together at least.
I'd love to head down to old Union Point and watch the Free Jacks play. I think it would be pretty exciting. So
yeah, I will look forward to the day where I can punch my ticket finally.
Can't wait. Right.
Same. Okay, let's go to some really random competitions starting this weekend. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it. I guess it's called the Six Nations.
Didn't it just happen?
Yeah, it just finished not that long ago. Yeah,
this is the irony of it. It just happened.
Wasn't that long ago?
It literally was November when I remember watching England play France to that sudden death game. England basically just both teams just kicked the ball away the entire time. Yeah,
it was sloppy weather, if I remember right.
It was terrible weather, but this just happened. And it's happening all over again. I mean, it's great. It's good to have international rugby back. I mean, what was it? French rugby just said a couple days ago, "Oh yeah, Six Nations can happen." Why are you saying it right now?
Yeah. Well, there was like people shitting themselves on Twitter, like this might not happen. Like, don't get too excited.
They were concerned, very.
Because France hadn't said that it was okay for a while. They're like,
correct.
Fuck all. There could be 5 nations this year.
Well, because they, weren't letting any of the Heineken Cup or whatever it's called,
right? Champions Cup
and Challenge Cup happened at all.
Oh, right, that was Heineken's Cup.
Yeah. Same. Same.
Heineken's back as the sponsor.
It is. It's the title sponsor now. Let's kind of run through each team and talk about chances and all that shit and what we hope for and what we might be disappointed by and all that shit. Let's start with odds-on favorite England.
Of course. I mean, why
says the guy that says the English guy.
Listen, it's going to be this. I'm hoping there's going to be some more exciting rugby come out of England. That it's been, only thing really exciting we've seen is Johnny May with that try against Ireland back in the Autumn Nations Cup. But other than that, it's been very
blah.
Just kicked a lot of kicking, a lot of sort of ball in hand, not much passing.
Smash
rugby. I
mean, one up.
Eddie Jones knows how to win, so he's going to stick to that formula, and he's going to stick to some of those usual suspects. But France, though, would be, I think, second best contender there.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's really hard to say otherwise. Yeah,
and I don't think it's close. First off, I do think England are prohibitive favorites. Only because France are going to be France for a match. They're going to have that Scotland match last year where they're going to
they just completely shit themselves
for no reason. that's you have to bank on that happening once, which means that England right there have the inside line at their direct line to it, because assume France fucks up, and then after that it's like, fuck, who cares? Like,
who's really going to push after that?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I think exactly. It's going to be that's also the best part of the Six Nations is that one upset game.
Yep.
Always fun.
It's either France shits the bed. I mean, England can too. They lost to
so
Wales. What was it, just last year? So
season before, but
season before. That's right.
I think even last year they lost, last year they lost.
They lost to France.
They lost to France,
right?
Yeah.
They shouldn't have lost that, but
France came out with their hair on fire. That helped.
It did.
Yeah. That was that game from that clearance kick from, I forget who it was, that sent that torpedo ball.
Oh, Boutier.
Yeah,
Boutier,
from literally hit just in front of his post to the England 22. So
yeah, that was a boomer.
That was demoralizing, to be honest. Just seeing that and being like, really?
Because work, like England, the way they play, they work so hard to get down there, and then just with one action, all of a sudden it's like, all right, we got to start all over again.
Yeah,
reset. Yeah, that's a little bit of a head dropper right there, as it were.
But no, England has brought in some, a couple of interesting new people into the mix for this Six Nations. Still retaining some of the usual suspects, but of course Joe Marler drops out because of family reasons. Want to spend, obviously when you're going into this bubble, you're away from home for
correct
pretty much, I think, the entire time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's gonna step out. Joe Launchery broke his leg, I believe. So
Fibia,
So it's made. Kyle Sinclair is also, he wasn't included, and that's because he's of his card from, I think when
it wasn't actually a card, but it was a ban afterwards.
That's right.
Sanction, yeah.
So the theory is, he's gone for 2 games. Eddie Jones will bring him in after that.
Right.
Yeah, which wouldn't shock me at the least. So of the guys go ahead, Ben.
I think you're going to ask the same question I am. So,
of the guys that are going to play, that got called in, how much do they play? How much does Adogwu play? How much does Harry Randall play? Those are the 2 names that people are going to really pay attention to, at least. So, I think that's the question that needs to be asked first.
Well, then my question is which of there's 3 on the main roster that are uncapped. So my question to James is going to be, which do you want to see capped the most? Which one do you want to see get their first cap? Between Obano, Randall, and Odogwu.
That's right.
I'd like to see Beno Obano get a cap. I think it would be pretty cool to see him go out there. I just watched his documentary on Amazon.
Yep, it's good stuff.
And it was pretty interesting. He's related to Mauro Itoje, which I didn't actually know.
Yep. But not a lot of people knew that.
Yeah, he's got a great story. I'd like to see Paolo Odogwu potentially play. I mean, he could have played for Italy. I think
crazy to think.
Well, I think his first name gives it away, but as a Paolo, I'd assume he's Italian. But he's a potential. Harry Randall's exciting player to watch as well. But Ben Spencer, I think, missed out on a spot there.
I think a lot of people would agree on that.
We've been talking about that, yeah.
So Ben Youngs is always going to get the starting shirt. He always shows up for England. He doesn't, maybe not as much for his club, but whenever he plays for England,
I don't know. I'm not sure that people would argue that saw the World Cup final.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
Yeah, it's going to be the usual suspects playing.
Yeah. Which is too bad, because this just feels like even in the other nations he actually did it more than I thought he would, by blooding some of the guys like Malins especially. I believe he should get way more time than he's probably going to, because he looked really good, and we know the talent that he possesses, and the kid plays all over the place, and he does it all. I don't see a reason to not play the guy, really. Fullback is a need position where they have guys, but they're not always solid back there. They always find a way to fuck up somewhere. I think Malins is more of a natural fullback, and he's got the speed to go with it. So, and he's in good form on top of all that.
He's a playmaker fullback,
Yes, he is.
Whereas Elliot Daly is a good covering fullback, and he's a kicking fullback. And Anthony Watson is he's
going to counter you.
He's going to run.
Mhm.
So yeah, it would be kind of cool to see him. I don't think he'll start, but maybe they'll pull him in at some point.
I
think
so.
if anything, right, the Italy game is the second game, I think, after Scotland for England.
Sounds right.
That's where they'll probably switch it up a bit.
Okay.
No disrespect to Italy, but I think if anything, you'll see some changes come in there, which would be exciting. And I think they should do it.
I'm just confused because Ben Youngs, I mean, I get it, but he's not going to be their scrum half the World Cup next year. Well, the next World Cup, right?
No, not at all.
Isn't it time to start? Isn't now the time? And he got his 100th cap, and congratulations to him for it, and thank you. But like, isn't it time to start really looking at the next generation scrum half? And like, isn't it more valuable to have because if Youngs is not going to be the scrum half, then why is he the scrum half now?
I think
like you're wasting you're wasting experience on a guy he's been there, done that, and he's not what he used to be.
I think whoever the backup 9 is for England, whatever game it is, if Ben Young starts, he should come out at halftime without question. Done. Yeah. Just leave it at halftime. Thank you for doing whatever the fuck you did, whether we're behind, ahead, whatever. Especially looking at the guy I'm really thinking of is Dan Robson. That guy has played so well for his club, he's so good. He's so good. He's just not being unearthed because Eddie refuses to, and it's really frustrating.
Is he in the squad?
He is.
He is. So I think he got a couple looks in the Autumn Nations. So I think Harry Randall's probably just in there to just sort of develop and to kind of soak up that sort of first England camp.
Exactly. That makes total sense. It's just odd.
That's fine. Yeah.
Like Robson, I think. Yeah, he has 7 caps. He's still kind of won a little bit more before you make sure he's the guy, but.
He would have been on that plane to Japan if not for that whole blood clot issue.
Yeah,
that sucked for the guy. Yeah. Really unfortunate.
They also have Alex Mitchell on the shadow squad, so they could pull him up at some point too.
Should need be, yeah.
Right. So I'd like to see him.
Yeah. On the upside for England, if Youngs does get hurt, they have a ready-made replacement with Robson, no doubt. Yeah. They won't lose a beat with him, I promise. So anybody that goes ahead and shits themselves if Youngs get hurt, don't worry, you're good. Let's go to number 2. Seems to be the consensus number 2. Le Bleu. Jouer. Jouer. No Intimac for a little bit here. He's still recovering. But hopefully we get to see him later on in the tournament.
I love when it's English refs that are just saying jouer.
Barnes is the worst. Yeah. Barnes is the worst at it for sure.
Yeah, Wayne Barnes' French accent. He clearly speaks it a little bit, but he just sounds like it's just an English guy speaking.
Oh, it's a super English guy. Yeah, absolutely.
He's like, I'm doing my best. Like, what are you going to do? Like,
absolutely.
They can't really. Yeah. He's speaking the language clearly, just in a really bad accent. Like, you get what you get.
Sorry guys.
and speaking of refs, this will be the first Six Nations in years without
Nigel.
Yes, Sir Nigel Owens.
Oh man,
Borida, which is good morning in Welsh. Borida.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to not see him out there with a whistle in hand. He can actually cheer for Wales now without any consequence whatsoever.
It's very true.
So that's a good upside for him. One of the big things that's been with this French team is the youngsters that have come through with that U20 squad. Rumor mill going around the whole circle is Cameron Walkie's going to start this first match coming up here. Which, I mean, it's against Italy, so if you're going to throw a youngster in his first start, I don't see anything wrong with that. The kid's played amazing since he's stepped on basically since he stepped into professional rugby at all. So, I don't blame him. I think the kid's got a lot. He's got length, he's got speed, and he's just a good ball carrier on top of it all. So, good option.
Well, you know what? They have Antoine Dupont, who is by far the best scrum half in the world right now.
Good God, that man is amazing.
He's so good. He's just watching him, not only, his passing, but his running lines. He's always there and always there to pick up the ball and score. be constantly scoring. So he's always just, you got to keep him under wraps. I just read that Gregory Allwright claims he's fit.
He is fit.
So there's, maybe he'll get a look or not. I'm not sure. Teddy Thomas has been playing pretty well for Racing Metro. And then who is is it Villiers, Gabin Villiers? He was the sevens player that kind of came alive he's incredibly fast in the Autumn Nations. He scored a wild try, I think, against Georgia, just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he wears a scrum cap, I believe.
Yeah. And then, so obviously the thing that a lot of people are going to ask right now with this French team is who plays 10 if Entomac's not there. They have plenty of options, and most of them are pretty darn good. So it's just going to be a matter of who's slipping on that 10 jersey. I think the odds-on favorite right now is Jalibert, but could be so. Carbonell as well.
Right. Could be either one, especially for this match. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, they're in Rome, so also
when in Rome.
Yeah, when in Rome. It's the question of
you got.
if you go out full beans on your first game because it's the opener of the Six Nations, or do you sort of hold back because it's Italy. But Italy, I want them so bad to win one fucking game.
Yes.
Just one game. They deserve, I think they deserve it. They've been doing it for so long. Not to mention in whether we transition to Italy after this, Sergio Parise, there's a potential for him for his final game in an Italy jersey.
Get him a crowd so he can say goodbye.
But they won't allow, I don't think they'll allow a crowd in Italy because they haven't had people in the stadiums for God knows how long in Italy.
Yeah, I know they got hit the hardest right away, way back when. I hope the man needs to say bye either way.
He does.
Let's look at the forward position. Shot or Marchand starts at hooker. Ben.
Camel Shot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
funny name, but goddamn, he's a good player.
I like Shot better. But fuck, Marchand's good too. It's flip a coin. I wouldn't. I mean, especially for this match, I wouldn't presume to figure it. But I think Marchand's your regular starter. Honestly,
yeah. So maybe Shot for this match.
Shot coming off the bench as fresh legs.
That's mean.
Just because he's not at the international level. I'm not sure he's. I think he's more of like a 30-minute player than a 60-minute player. So that's why I'd have him in reserve, especially the energy that he brings.
Yeah.
Well, when he's running on, his neck will get to the scrum before the rest of his body does.
Yep. No doubt about that. Oh man. Yeah, that dude's got zero neck. My goodness.
It's been top 14 rugby has been a lot of fun to watch this season. Just because of how free flowing it is. So and all the names. So I'll be excited to see the French team come out. Maybe not. They won't be as flashy as usual without Entomac, but Antoine Dupont is going to steer the ship.
Yeah,
and
we just
still going to be pretty decent.
Well, Jalibert was showing some serious
true
flash in Champions Cup, so I think that's why I think he's going to be the starter.
Yeah, he'll be just fine.
Just because that's what they that he's certainly right in that Entomac mold. As an all-tool fly half. So.
And these guys are all so young. This is a young French squad, which is exciting.
Yeah, it is. If I'm a Frenchman and I'm a French rugby fan, I am very excited for this team, and especially what's coming up obviously in 2023 as well. So
I think they're going to play the best rugby out of anyone in the Six Nations. I just don't think they're going to win because it'll be in general they're going to be playing great rugby, and then they're just going to shit the bed.
Yeah, I know. Let's go across the other way across the pond. Let's go to Ireland and Ben's favorite team.
They're getting better. They're moving in the right direction. See, they're the third team because at least they're trying to play good rugby. I just don't know that they're there yet.
Yeah, maybe they can actually peak at a World Cup.
Yeah, I know they did not have a very impressive Autumn Nations at all.
No.
They weren't that exciting against Georgia, really. They weren't that exciting against England, obviously. but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. What's his face says he's fit to play 10.
Sexton.
When was the last time he was fit to play 10?
Who knows?
I know
Like,
I know
really
Ben's
fit to
answer on this. So James, I'm going to ask you, when is it time to move on from Sexton?
I think doesn't he insist he's going to want to aim for that 2023 World Cup is his aim.
I think Lions is first, but yes.
Well, he should.
But yes.
He has to. Finn Russell will play 10 for the Lions.
I think that's a great idea.
And I think
Farrell
will play 12.
I don't see any way Sexton plays 10 for the Lions.
No way. We're past that now.
Yeah, mostly because his body can't take. Like, how can you take a guy like him, who, I mean, he's good. I'm not saying he's shit yet, but he's trending towards that from where he used to be. But you're bringing a guy who is not one of the best in the world anymore, and he can't take the pounding. So at any moment you could lose him, and now you're down a player and a starter or something. No. And the same that also goes for the World Cup, where you're playing, a compressed schedule of high intensity matches. His body cannot take it. So I want to see more of Billy Burns and Ross Byrne this and
Connor Murray as well. He's not as impressive as he used to be. I think he's lost a step.
I want to see Jamison Gibson Park get a run.
Yeah, Leinster have always constantly impressed year after year. Can't believe that's Stuart Lancaster's doing. That's just crazy.
Yeah, it is hard to think about the difference between what Lancaster did with England and what he's been doing with Leinster. And obviously he's not the head man at Leinster, so that probably helps him just a little bit. And it's also not an international job, although Leinster's pretty darn close to the type of job that you would want just the same. But yeah, so it is quite a difference that he's got there.
I think, the Ireland team might be a little more reinvigorated because they brought in Paul O'Connell to help coach the forwards.
I saw that.
And I think having a presence like that in camp is going to certainly change mentality. He's a towering figure, Lions captain, just a scary looking human being.
Yeah, he was quite the figure when he was playing in a green shirt there. So
yeah, I think Ireland need to come out strong. They need to do it for some of these guys that are trying to put their hands up for the Lions tour, and they need to do it for Andy Farrell because they have not really played for a guy that was defense coach or whatever has been with Ireland for this long. They've not really sort of played like the team that they have in the past.
Right.
So I've seen them as working towards opening it up. Now I think you're right. Certainly against Georgia they went heavy, but I think that's just because it's like, hey, that's an easy way to beat Georgia. No effort at that point, other than obviously the physicality. But you don't have to think about, oh, will this work? No, this is going to work. But I think they've been trying to get to a more open game, which is another reason why I want them to move on from Sexton, because I think he hampers that by attacking the line instead of moving the ball. So I think they're kind of you can see the movement in the more open play direction. I mean, you look at especially you just get to the back three. First off, who's playing in the back three?
Well, that was going to be a question I wanted to ask. Who plays in the back three for this team? Because Stockdale's out and they don't have Carney anymore. So it's now down to a few guys. It's down to a few guys at this point.
Yeah, but the guys that they have are
I would absolutely put Hugo Keenan at the top of my list. The way he played for Leinster and the way he played for Ireland this past fall. So I hope he's on that list.
Him, Lowe, Larmer, Earls. Like
I keep thinking Keith Earls is like 45 because he's been around for so long.
He's been around forever.
He's only 33 years old, but he was on that 09 Lions tour, I'm pretty sure.
So I believe so.
Yeah, he's still playing at a ridiculous level. So it's like,
it's crazy to me that he's still getting. I don't know. I need to look up how many caps he has.
Quite a few at this point.
You have like Ringrose out there, Henshaw, or if you go in that, you can have the Bundyaki at center, but you can also go with an all-speed center pairing too.
I think if you get away from the Sexton fly half, you can put Bundy Aki and you're not hampered in attack by any means whatsoever. Because Ross Byrne will open it up. Billy Burns will open it up a little bit, and you can use him as that battering ram that he likes to be. Perfect. Exactly. Go for it. So that way you don't lose a whole lot in attack, and you still have that option when need be. And he's capable of certainly opening it up too, given the chance. So don't put that past him either.
Yeah. One question I have is, do you have to be playing for? You do, I think, for your Irish provincial teams to play for Ireland. So, what's his name over at playing for London Irish right now? The flanker.
Sean O'Brien.
Yeah, Sean O'Brien. He doesn't have a.
He is not eligible.
He's not,
but he needs to. I think he needs a little more time to sort of get himself back into.
He's quite.
He didn't have a great. He had an okay game. Oh wait, no, did he? Maybe he won man of the match. I can't remember. He played all right.
He was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in quite a few places for the Exiles this past weekend. So
he's getting there.
Yeah,
he's also 33. So you don't even know if they'll give him a look again. But
no,
he's a good sort of guy from Cork. He's got that one of them accents.
Yeah, he's good. He's one of those farmer boys, man. He
is a farmer boy.
Yeah, he's a beast. That's where he gets his strength from, just throwing shit around on the farm all friggin' day. That'll do it. Let's go to the aforementioned Italy. There's hope always for this club, for this team, for this country.
Is there?
But then it just doesn't quite come to fruition, and you're just disappointed as shit about it. Stephen Varney's in the team. That's fun. No, Jake Pelledri kind of makes things really disappointing. That's for sure.
That's where it is. It's like, I'm looking at this and I'm, you look up the other lineup and you're like, oh man, this would be good. With Jake Pelledri, suddenly the mood changes. But without him, I'm not seeing it.
You went over.
I'm like, wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who's actually attacking here?
Yeah. No Manazzi, because again, sort of same sort of excuse, not an excuse, it's a terrible word, but same reservations that Joe Marler has. It's being part of that bubble for that long. Manazzi came out and said he just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
which I understand, especially
don't blame him.
As a family.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also one of their best players. Garbisi he's back in the squad, I believe.
Yes, he is.
And he's a promising young Italian-bred player, which is what you want to see.
Right, him and Canna make quite a fun look at that midfield area for Italy. Obviously they have Tommaso Allen if they need be, but he's one of those guys that's getting at the wrong end of it. He's not old, but at the same time, the talent that's underneath him is really pushing him to be better.
He's an old 27. Let's put it that way.
He kind of is.
Like,
tell you what's also
a lot of mileage on him.
Yeah, he does have mileage on him. Monty Ioane. He's Digby Ioane's brother.
Yes.
He qualifies for Italian to play for Italy because he's been playing for, I think, Benetton or Zeb for 3 or how many years.
Yeah, I think Benetton,
So he's been pulled into the squad. He's a winger. It'll be interesting to see him play because, he grew up playing probably in Australia, I believe. Or maybe New Zealand, one or the other. You never know with these Islanders.
Yeah, you never know.
But it'll be kind of exciting to see maybe him inject a little pace if they can get the ball out there, hopefully.
Yeah, find a way to get the ball out there.
If he gets a start.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't have a reason to not start some of these guys at this point. Like, there's just I don't have a reason to not play some of these guys for sure.
Is there a reason to not start Stephen Varney?
I don't have one, honestly.
Like, what you get in Callum Brayley, who is a solid Prem starter, but no great shakes. So this is not his level of play. Like, he's your backup. Like, he's not your starter come World Cup time if you really want to be, if you want to win a game.
Even get
against
pulled
a quality team.
Brayley didn't even get pulled in, I don't think. Or did he?
At least the list I'm seeing, he's on there.
So. Is he? Okay, so never mind. I'll shut my mouth.
Could be wrong.
I missed that part. I missed that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a couple of Italian-born scrum halves on top of that, which I'm sure they're going to feel obligated to play at some point. Yeah. So Franco Smith's got he's got, I don't envy anybody that is coach of Italy, honestly.
No,
I don't.
no.
It's just, it's almost a thankless job.
Although now Guzzi's in line, so.
Well, he's at Benetton now. Yeah, that helps. Be interested to see how that goes. So yeah, likely much of the same for Italy this year, unfortunately, which is super disappointing, but it's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of disappointing, let's go north.
Both either direction we go is
I was gonna say Wales, maybe.
Scotland almost equally as disappointing.
I do well, Scott. Yeah, I always more and more I have hope for them. Obviously, don't want them to win the Calcutta Cup. I think they're going to come out guns a blazing, with now I'm losing my mind with what's his face back at 10, Finn Russell. Yeah, because he wasn't playing before this. There was that sort of he was either too old for school or whatever happened.
Yeah. Oh, well, he was just a loose cannon. That's all. No big deal.
Right.
Yeah. So with him sort of steering the bus, Cameron Redpath is going to be pretty exciting. I am
extremely excited to see him in that blue shirt.
If they pull him in, yeah, it'll be pretty interesting. And listening to an interview with him with the guys at Rugby Pass, the reason he went to Scotland, obviously his father, famous Scottish player, but he looked at sort of the setup in England, and he's a center, and he doesn't see himself going in there right now. It's
tough.
At all because the way Eddie Jones picks his team, there's no real way he could kind of get himself into a starting place. So,
and there's such a future there. So he's just at a bad time. Although I do think his career path will take him to 10. I think he's a good center, but I think he could be a deadly 10 from having watched him there a little bit with Beth. So I think that's another thing.
Him and Finn Russell next to each other.
If he's a center for now, fine. But I think he's 21, so he's got a little bit of time.
Another thing that I think is exciting is seeing the brothers Gray reunited again.
Yeah, assuming
Richie Gray's been brought back. Is this the first time he's been back in a while into the Scotland squad?
I think so. It's been a wee bit. It's been a wee bit. So, if he gets healthy,
clearly these guys are saying, because Richie Gray is a 2-time Lions tourist, I believe. Or maybe
sounds right.
His brother was in the last one. I know Richie went to Australia. So they're clearly thinking, well, we got to play well for our country to get into that Lions squad, because I think there's going to be a few more Scottish players than there have been in the past, and maybe they
Well, they've got,
they can maybe they can skimp on the Welsh players this time, because I've had enough of that.
They've got so much talent on this Scotland team. It's the opposite. When you look at the Italy team and you're just like, where is it? On the Scotland team, you're like, boom, it's right there. You mentioned, the Gray brothers, Finn, Ali Price is pretty damn good scrum half.
Yes.
And then you get out to, Chris Harris is an excellent center. Stuart Hogg, one of the best fullbacks in the world. They've got the talent all over the place, but they don't use it right. And so that's why it's so disappointing. It's like, okay, you're going to use Finn Russell to just forward crash all day. That's not.
Or just rely on his magic.
Right. But that's the thing. But that pisses Townsend off when he does that. He's like, that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's like, no, but it works.
Let it go, man. Let it go.
How's the crash ball rugby treating you? You winning a lot lately?
Yeah, right. Hugh Jones is back in the squad after his
injury
admission. He's someone that's had South African experience because he's South African.
Right.
So, maybe there's going to be eyes on him for one of those backup center spots for the tour to Australia.
He's played a little bit of fullback as well too for his club. So, adding that little bit to his repertoire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, looking at this, you're right. The Jamie Ritchie's great as well. The Scottish players are great, and they should be doing better than they have. I think they're going to put up a fight against England.
As they usually do. as they usually do.
Well, in recent years.
Yes. I guess that's more to the point. Yeah. In the last couple of years, they've definitely not gone away easily by any means whatsoever. They've been right there throughout the whole thing.
It'll be a very close one. I think it'll be the game to watch of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it'll be the two teams that are like just pounding each other to death. Like it's gonna be bloody.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be very bloody.
Which means, but also because of the style of play that these two teams play, it's gonna be tight. So it could go either way.
Correct.
Unless England really open it up, unless they actually, play some attacking rugby. In that case, it won't be close. But I'm assuming that Eddie will continue being Eddie. And
although he's been him and a couple of the assistant coaches, had that COVID scare, so they've been
they were isolated,
sort of locked away for a bit. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects preparation.
Correct. So we'll see how that goes. Let's go. Let's go over to James's second favorite country, Wales.
This is the thing. This tournament is going to be the make or break for Wayne Pivac.
Likely.
Even though I think he's still has like 2 years in his contract or something.
No.
Yep.
If they don't have a good Six Nations, he's not going to be in there anymore.
Right.
Not to mention they just had Josh Adams has been let go from the squad because he broke COVID protocol.
Moron.
I was about to say, James, you don't have to. That's cross one name off the Lions tour list that you don't have to worry about coming from Wales.
Yeah, even if he was on the fence, he's no longer on the fence. Nope. He is on the wrong side now. Yep. Oh God, what an idiot! I don't know how are you that dumb? Good Lord. There's an interesting mix in this Welsh team with youngsters that should bring them forward in the future. You look at the likes of Lloyd and Sheedy, and then Reece Zammit and Nick Tompkins. A lot of guys that have applied their trade quite a bit in England. And then you look at the other end of the spectrum when you have Lydiate, who was apparently just played out of his skin this year. Halfpenny, Alan Wynne-Jones, and so on. Quite two different ends there. Ken Owens is another one to say. I know I had another one in my head. There's the one. So a lot of mid to high 30s, and then quite a few like 27 and under. So not a whole lot between. Maybe there is, also, and I'm just miscalculating. But
not a lot of puppies either. To be perfectly honest, like there's you're really solid from the 24 to like 33 age, but there's not many. I'm seeing 122, a 23. Like
Reece Zammit's 20.
Yeah.
Right.
And Lloyd's 19.
Yeah, that's true.
He brings that average age way down just with that.
Reece Carey's only 22. Holy fuck.
He's already quite a good prop, so good on him. That's not easy.
They have them sprinkled in, but only here and there they have these the young pups.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, they have ridiculous caps. So I mean, Reece Carey's got 12 caps at 22.
Right. So it'll be and this is likely Alan Wynne-Jones last year in the Six Nations, if I had to guess. This is Jake Ball's last year in the Six Nations, as we all know. Mm-hmm. Start blooding some guys.
Ken Owens is last year. He's 34 years old. The guy's been around for years.
Right.
That dude is a brick.
Yeah, Dan Lydiate and Justin Tipperick, those guys have been around for forever as well.
Mm-hmm. Still really fucking good.
Tipperick's only 31 though. He's still viable for the World Cup.
I know, which blows my mind. And probably he'll get a look. He'll get a Lions cap. It'll be maybe his third tour.
That sounds right. Yeah, that's absolutely amazing.
Maybe his third. 20,
Yikes, that's absolutely ridiculous. Who is the backup 10 to this squad not named Dan Bigger? Like, if Dan Bigger breaks, how fucked are these guys?
Yeah. Is Reese Patchell in the?
He's in the squad. Sheedy's very raw on the international level, and I love Callum Sheedy, but he's very raw at this level. So I mean, if Saints fans are going to all go banging down our door tomorrow. If Dan Bigger breaks at some point in this tournament, who steps in, and really how fucked are they?
It's a good question, because I don't know where they're going to develop a new Welsh fly half from, because I don't really watch the Pro 14 that much. I don't really watch Welsh rugby that much, but it's been Dan Bigger for years, and Reece Patchell kind of steps in here and there.
I can tell you that Wayne Pivak just woke up, and for some reason, out of the darkest corner of his mind, said, "I need to kill an American right now."
I don't think he thinks about Americans, to be honest.
No, I think he's somewhere. Jared mentioned the thing.
Saw in a dream,
and he's like, "Oh, fuck that guy." I don't know who he was, but I got to kill him now.
Oh shit! Yeah.
You know what? They do have Gareth Anscombe, but I mean, he's got a long road to recovery.
He's still, that's the one thing. Like,
he'll be the if he can come back all right and bounce back, he will be the fly.
Well, he's definitely the starting 10. Like, and he complements Dan Bigger quite well on top of all that. Jared Evans is probably another name to throw in there, but he's not like somebody that's going to wow you by any means whatsoever. So. Yeah, I mean, keep Dan Bigger wrapped in bubble wrap. That's all I know. Don't let him get hit hard in training. Don't let him. Yeah, no, none of that shit. Put the pink jersey on him so he doesn't get whacked, as it were.
Speaking of which, George North made the team.
Is he going to break, or is he going to actually finish?
I don't want to see him at this level anymore. I really don't. It's
at this point it's asking for bad news,
right? We don't like. There was what was it, the England game where I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
It's not like because it's George North, and we've seen it so many times. I just don't think it's responsible at this point. So I'm angry about that.
The dude
Josh Navidi gets a look again. He had some injury trouble for a while.
Yeah, so just a bit.
He's an exciting player,
He's a brick. He is a brick. I mentioned Owens. He's another one. That dude is just solid. Good luck running through him.
Yeah, I don't want to be
really hard to. No. They do have some great back rowers that can tackle you, and a couple that can carry the ball. Tipper can carry the ball. Falatau can carry the ball, obviously, but I just don't know. Who else is going to carry the ball for forwards for this team. So they're going to have to really rely on whatever backs they can. So it's going to be tough.
It'll be interesting, I think, overall with the Six Nations, just because of it being played in front of no audience, whether or not there's going to be more squad rotation just because of player welfare. I think it's something that they probably could look into. I know, especially with England, all these Saracens guys haven't really played a game. Yet since international rugby.
Billy got 40 minutes or 80 minutes the other day. That was about
against that wonderful Ealing Trail
Finders. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep.
He's ready.
Yeah. At least he got off his ass.
So I don't know. I always there's going to be the spirit of competition and everyone wants to win, but I wonder if at some point they're going to look at it and be like, this is gonna be a Six Nations with an asterisk, probably.
Okay.
Just like the last one.
Yep. I think so too.
So I don't know. It's really, I think more and more people are starting to worry about player welfare, pay more attention to it, especially with what came out about Steve Thompson, former England hooker, who says he can't even remember the World Cup final.
Which is
it
is a little scary.
I wonder if it's the booze, but I don't think it is.
Don't know. No idea.
So it's something that I think teams are going to keep in mind more and more. And I think it would be somewhat smart to have a little bit of a rotation, especially if they're trying to go ahead with a Lions tour. Maybe rest the guys, or not rest them, but don't play some of your starters for the full 80.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yep, I agree. All right. So first, England. Second, France. Third,
Ireland.
Fourth,
Wales. Oh,
Wales.
no. Scotland.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Let me
Scots might
change
take
my.
that.
Let me change my third. Scotland in third.
Oh
Okay.
my.
Okay. I
almost
hope so.
forgot about them.
I kind of hope you're right, James. Honestly, I really do, because that means they will have kind of woken up and started to play some nice looking rugby and not this bullshit that Townsend's currently got them playing. So I hope you're right. Really, I do. So James says Scotland third, Ireland fourth, Wales fifth.
Yeah, Italy.
And Italy holding up the bottom.
Take that wooden spoon again.
Yes, they will. Okay.
They come in, they say, "Where would you like it this time?" I bend over.
Oh, good Lord. I'm sorry, Italy. I'm sorry, Missouri.
Who do you have, Jared?
I would definitely put England at 1, which is something that kind of makes me feel gross, but also I'm not stupid as I look. France 2. I'm going to go with James and say Scotland 3. I'm hoping Ireland can, again, another team that needs to just open it up a wee bit, and they won't finish just above Italy, so they'll go 4. Yeah, this might be the end of Wayne Pivax with Wales going 5th, and then Missouri holding up the bottom there.
All right, and I got England, France, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, Italy.
Okay, so that's how it is. Let's do pick 'em for this weekend, shall we? And then James, you can go ahead and get on your merry way, my friend.
Oh, fellas, I have to cook dinner. I'm doing an all vegetable dinner, and it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, the weekend opener, Italy and France. I don't think there's a question. If there is, then we're all batshit crazy, considering what we just said. England, Scotland.
It's England for me.
England.
Same. Wales, Ireland.
This is a tough one.
This will be a tough one.
Now I don't know how much home soil really means anymore without your home crowd.
Yeah, I think it's.
Is it in Dublin or is it in Cardiff?
It's in Cardiff, I believe.
Then I'm gonna say it's Wales.
Okay.
I'm going Ireland, obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the green as well. So James picked it correctly a couple years ago. I think you all got all but like two wrong last time, or two right. And so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I see Wales winning this. I know it's gonna be very close. Now I got to go back and kind of reshuffle how I think I wanted to structure people, because now I have less hope for Ireland. I don't know. It's the Six Nations. It's the best tournament out of all rugby tournaments aside from the World Cup and Lions Tour. It is. It's better than the Tri Nations or Rugby Championship. It is always, you never know what's going to happen, and that's the best part.
Yeah, that we like. That we definitely like.
Definitely.
Oh, all right, James. Thank you so much for coming by. We'll let you go and do your dinner thing. We'll have you back again sometime within the Six Nations, so we can chat more about this shit.
Yeah, and make sure you tune into Peacock NBC for your Six
Peacock.
Nations.
Fucking
audio
Peacock.
works.
Yeah.
Sucks.
It doesn't sound like a fucking garbled bunch of freaking voice modulator or whatever. Oh, good Lord, man.
I could spend a whole podcast just shitting on Peacock for multiple reasons.
Same. All right, man. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one, buddy.
All right, stay well,
man. Cheers.
See ya.
All right. So off the back of that, let's talk about 5 players from each country that you would pick. Obviously, these don't have to be the players you would pick necessarily for your Six Nations TRM team, but let's talk about 5 guys that are up there. There are 20 guys that are picked at 40% or higher right now.
Fuck, really?
TRM. Yeah.
That does make sense, because let me see. I've got my squad open, but I don't know if it says. It doesn't say what their percentage is, but everybody's going to have Maro Itoje, because he's just
he is without a doubt the highest. He's at 77%.
Fuck.
Or 76. Yeah. It's changed in the last 5 months.
I just popped it open. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's well above 70%.
Right.
Ridiculous.
And we've been talking about the best scrum half in the world right now, Antoine Dupont. Is at 80%.
Okay, so he's the second. He's the highest. Maro's the second highest.
Yeah, and the guys that you know are going to start and play, and because I'm kind of surprised. Finn Russell's at under 50%. He's at like 47, and it's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But do you really know if he's going to start? You don't. So
I hope he does. Well, it's a matter of who has the tee too. Like, is he going to be able to kick, and are you going to want to use his kicking points?
But do you care? Because he's what is it? Hold on, where is he? Sorry, I lost him.
I mean, he needs to be able to turn it over and get meters.
But he's also a center. He's center eligible in
right.
TRM.
And that's like, fine if you
put him at center. I don't need his kicking points. I just
and that's the thing. If you're not worried about it, then fine. Yep, absolutely. So 5 names that come off the top of your head for England right away.
Well, Itoje, Jinx.
Yep.
Farrell. I'm not sure I'd want him on my again. Like, but that's what you're saying. Johnny Hill. Oddly enough,
I have him on my team.
And that it's hard outside of that. Maybe is Mako fit? Is he on?
I think so. I think he's fit.
Then Mako, because fucking eats minutes and points that we've talked about him being that leading your team in carries and tackles. Right. That this is where it'll get you points.
Agreed. 5 names from France.
Dupont, as I said. Oh, I forgot we were doing.
Yep.
Dupont, obviously. Olivon, because he's at
52% right now.
Yeah. Teddy Thomas. Thomas.
Thomas.
I want to see what he. Yeah, I know. I just like calling him Teddy Thomas. Vieira, as you mentioned, because again, that's an I want to see it. I want to see what he brings to the competition this year. And I'm wondering if we're going to see Kuyu at some point. I know I'm going to for backup, and this isn't so much fantasy, but that's just a name that I kind of all the roster I kind of want to see. And then whoever's playing hooker as our competition or our discussion before.
Yeah, Marchand or Shah. Yep.
I have to see who it is, but yeah, they'll do well.
5 names on Ireland that you kind of want.
Oh, Furlong.
Yep.
Easy right off the bat. You want that prop. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the high ones.
James Ryan as a
lock.
Itoje and Ryan as your locks. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And then there's back 3, right up. And
Larimer, Keenan, any of those. Yep.
Low.
Yep.
Right there. Yep. Those 3 really. That would be my back 3 if I could choose one of those guys. So those 3.
This will be a tougher one for you. 5 names you would take from Italy because if you want to maximize this team, you got to take 5.
You know my love for Niccolò Canone.
Yep, Canone. Yep, I like him.
He's been good, and he's a guy who you don't start, but you have him on your bench, and he eats up a lock position and an Italy spot away from some. If like I mentioned, Itoje and Ryan, if those are your starters. You have any other lock from if you pick a lock from France at that point, you're missing out on
one of the great players that the French have. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So this is where you pull guys from random spots. Tommaso Allen is ridiculously versatile in the game.
He's 3 positions. It's ridiculous.
Right. Fly half center, fullback, and even if you again, just like we were talking about with Russell earlier. Allen might not have the tee, but his points from just general play at fly half are probably going to be better than most other fullbacks. They're at least it's dependable. It's a guy you can just plug there and he should get you some points. Outside of that,
tough.
Again, I want to see who their scrum half is. I would like to see it be Varney again, so I'm going to throw him on there. But again, whoever their scrum half is it might be a good one to have for a bench spot or a spot start in case someone's playing Italy, so they don't start. Yeah. And then Luca Bigi.
It's
hard. It's hard to fit him in though, because there's enough good hookers that you actually want. You want one on your starter and on your bench. So he might be a good fill-in as a bench player.
Yep.
And I lost count of how many players that is.
That's fine.
I think
you covered. I think you covered it. Scotland. This should be 5 names that probably go right away.
Oh, Johnny Gray.
Yep.
Xander Fagerson.
He's one of the high ones up there.
Another prop. So you get 3 props. We had Mako Vunipola, Ty Furlong, Xander Fagerson. Those 3, and you're done at prop. You'll be just fine. But then turning to Jamie Ritchie in your back row could be an excellent pickup, or Hamish Watson. Both of them are just both those guys are just fire plugs running with the ball and hard to tackle. So they'll get you those tackle busts and line breaks here or there. So they're and they tackle like motherfuckers. So
on top of that,
yeah. Finn Russell, and Stewie Hogg.
Yep.
And Chris Harris.
Yeah, I like Chris Harris.
That's my if they can just somehow connect those 3. If Finn
I know, right?
And Chris and Stu are running in if they're running connected, it'll go well for Scotland. But
no argument on me. How about the Welsh?
Dan Bigger.
Good one.
We won't bring up our earlier conversation on that. At this point now, LRZ, Larry Zamet, has got. I think this Josh Adams situation opens the door for him.
It's true. It's very true.
Nick Tompkins, as we said, the possibility is there for him to be an attacking center if Pivak opens it up. And the Navidi and Tipperick.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, I like those. I like those guys. I like those guys a lot.
Yeah, they'll get your points.
Yes, they will. All right, let's flip the script a little bit. Let's go to Six Nations. We're talking all kinds of Six Nations. Let's buzz through Prem real quick. What's to be said about Bristol Bath other than the fact that Bath just didn't look good and Bristol looked great?
That's about it.
Yeah.
Bath are well, put it this way, and we're not there quite yet. But that the week from last week, when it was I have the score right here. 52-44.
Oh, that one, yeah.
52-44 Wasps versus Bath, which seemed everybody's asking where's the defense. Well, then you look at this weekend, and Bath give up 48, Wasps give up 49. Maybe you just can't play defense right now.
Yeah, maybe it's the teams.
But Bristol, man, they're relentless. And I think that I think probably towards the end of the game, they're like, I can't believe we gave up 3 fucking points early on. Like if it wasn't for that one slip up, just a perfect game.
Yeah. Yep. So, just
and think of all the guys that that are missing.
We have a couple of guys missing too. On top of that, yeah, should be very terrifying for people that are playing Bristol right now.
Right when they get if Malins is playing, maybe
Cheedy,
more
Randall,
Morahan and
Earl
and Purdy are right. Earl, fuck yeah, like there's just they're missing. If they're 7, 9, 10, although Urine was
pretty good. Yeah, it was quite good.
Right, and the 2 back. Well, I guess Owen Lloyd, but he was at 10, but you'd probably have him at one of the back 3 positions or Malins. So it's like, fuck, all these guys that where this could go. And Bath aren't bad; they're just playing really bad right now. Yeah,
they're not. They need to right the ship just a little bit. Did you watch Tigers sail at all?
I snoozed through it. I mean, I watched it. Like, I wanted to see what the new improved sale would be, or what at least the.
I don't know if it's new. I don't know if it's new and improved, but it's a little improved because they won.
Not yet. They won.
The one thing that I can remember off the top of my head was AJ's kick that Yard caught. He got smoked when he made that kick. Like people kind of just dismiss that, like, oh yeah, that's no big deal. Like he got smoked when he kicked that thing and landed on a pretty good point. Yeah, Yard had to make a good move to get himself over, but that doesn't get there by accident. So good on AJ. Yeah, attaboy.
So can we talk about? I'm going to mention one thing about, like, I've seen people talking about this character, and it fucking annoys me because he scored a couple tries and he's not good. He's just not good. It's Sam James. Let's put it this way: he intercepted a pass right at the 22, took it for a try. So right there, when it's easy to know how many meters you gained at that point because you're
about
right
80 or so. Yep,
78, right? Guess how many meters he made for the match?
Besides that,
total.
Oh, total. Oh, probably like freaking, I don't know what, 85,
79.
Close. Wow.
So he gained one more meter the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's not good.
Had no more clean breaks. He threw 2 passes and made 1 tackle, and he played 80 minutes of rugby. Like, what the fuck is he? What? So yeah, don't get
too excited about him either way.
Sam James here.
Yeah, just a little bit. Next day, Gloucester, Northampton. Hello Northampton, and hello Gloucester in some ways, because they looked a little bit better too, in some aspects as well. So good on them.
Floyd Evans doesn't get injured this game, very different.
Yeah, and he's out for a little while. It sounds like at least 3 or 4 weeks easily.
Ouch. Yeah, it didn't look good.
Nope, did not.
It didn't look bad, but it didn't look good. It was one of those, like, yeah, that's a 3 to 4 week injury. He didn't break it, but no good. He's
gonna need a rest. Yeah, Carreras and Furbank up in the air. That was scary too.
I gotta say though, I'm a little disappointed that there wasn't a yellow on that. Because it was like the way he was tackled kind of fucked up his legs. So, but what are you gonna do? You can't throw it just because, or throw a card just because the guy got hurt. But it wasn't a good tackle.
Wasn't the prettiest, no.
Then
Furbank
and Carreras was. I mean, Carreras was out before he hit the ground, and Furbank probably the same.
Furbank was a little loopy too, so yeah, I'm glad they both came off and stayed off at least.
Right.
That was the way to go. Are we seeing a reignition for both teams, or is this just 2 bad teams that are scoring on each other?
No, I think they played good rugby, and both Gloucester scoring 26 points, especially how they ended it, was a lot due to the fact that Northampton can't defend. But Northampton's points were scored. I thought they scored very well because they played. Mitchell had an outstanding match. Hutchinson and Proctor, like, they had guys contributing all over the pitch. So, and they were using the ball really well. So it wasn't and I don't think that had anything to do with the opponent. That was them passing well and making good decisions. So, I think Northampton are that's a pulse. I think if they can keep, we'll see this week, but
I guess we'll find out this week.
Like, it looked like they were going somewhere good.
Yep. Tough tussle at 6 ways with Worcester and Exeter. Exeter getting back on the board, but still kind of misfiring a little bit here and there.
This was the most Worcester match, front to back. They had every opportunity. Like, it's okay. So let's fast forward towards the end. Somewhere in the last 10 minutes or so, Worcester had a penalty in Exeter territory, and they're down 4 points, and they decide to go for post. And it's like, you fucking idiots! You might never get down here again. So what are you doing? Like, making this a 2? You're not making it any easier on yourself.
No.
Also consider the opponent. It's Exeter. What do they live? They live by discipline and forcing you to make the penalty. And they're not going to make in these last few minutes, they're going to just shut it down and say, don't take penalties. Like it's Worcester. Like you got to figure that the players, like they're going to trust you to fuck it up. So no, they kick for points and they miss it and they never really get a chance to score again. So how Worcester.
Very, very unfortunately. Sunday, London Irish Newcastle. That was quite a decent performance against a good club for the Exiles. Might be turning a corner here.
They got something.
Mm-hmm.
They certainly have something, and they're still like there's still so much more that they can get out of the team too. So fuck, who knows? Like this is certainly a quality side.
Yeah, they've shown it. I mean, their injection of Aussies has not been by accident by any means whatsoever, too. Mm-hmm. So that's helped a bit, I would say. Tarvin Parton getting installed at fullback definitely helps.
That's a fit. It's clicking there.
It works. As far as 10s go for the guys from the way up north, is Hodgson their best 10? Is Flood their best 10? Is Connon their best 10? Because I'm not sure Dean Richards knows at this point.
No, it's not. And well, I can tell you it's not Flood. And I think I think it's time for him to take a seat.
Have some pine. Yeah.
Yeah. He's not helping enough. And he's good. He's at the end. I don't think this team needs the leadership more than they need the athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's evident. The Irish just ran all around them. And that's not just Toby Flood's fault. But when you have, dead legs at center, it hurts a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go there.
Yeah.
Especially with the outside backs they have that are just lightning quick. If you're getting run around from that, it's because they're getting sucked in because some of your guys aren't in the centers aren't where they need to be.
Yep. No argument here. And then over to the Rico. This is what can happen when you have the situation that happened to Quins. They can do one or two things. They can poop it or they can galvanize themselves. And I think we would all agree that they steal themselves quite a bit here and prove they. I think this is a lot of character from Quins, and this is what I want to say about it. Because they saw what happened with Guzzy and they said, this is our fault. This is 100% our fault. We were not doing our jobs to our maximum ability. And, we need to show that we are better than this because what happened to Guzzy wasn't fair. And you can see the well wishes that went and people are upset about it from the stoop. So yeah, this is something that the Quins decided we fucked up and we need to correct it. Before somebody else gets fired. So they did it and they look damn good doing it at that. So good on them.
Where did Louis Lina come from?
Michael Lina?
Yeah, there you go.
If I had to guess.
Yeah. Good guess. Hey, I feel like he just popped out of the soil at times. I think the Wasps are the same way.
Yeah, he's like, whoa, where'd you come from?
Yeah, wait, there was nobody here, but now there. Yeah, excellent game on his behalf, obviously.
Yeah, good. That's what he needed to get going because he's got the talent to be something special for this club, and I think that's what he needed to get going there. On the other side,
assist.
Yeah. Pretty good stuff. On the other side, the pack kind of let the Wasps down a little bit, I will say. I don't think that's wrong to say that.
No, Gaskell, I thought didn't. He's very easy to spot. So
quite
he's also very easy when you're not seeing him.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see him as nearly as much as I have seen him in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Roland's he's not. That's weird. He's not that old, but he's again the whole mileage thing. He's not looking as fast. Like there are a couple, maybe there are a couple plays where 2 or 3 years ago he'd have been fucking through. Maybe not scoring, but through, and that just wasn't happening.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of getting through the tackles, but he's not scooting afterwards.
Yeah,
and Willis, though, his shirt ripped like early.
Somebody
on.
get that boy a fucking shirt. God damn. I know you have another one for him. Get it there. Who cares with the blank jersey? Just get on him. Let's go.
Come on, Pudsey.
God damn it. Fucking that's the man. That's the equipment guy's fault. Okay. Let's do recap. Champi-Yanks League real quick. Go to FRD Prem. And we will be picking the order for FRD Super Rugby next week's pod, and then we'll be drafting next weekend. Yay for drafts. Yay. I like drafts. Let's see. All right. So last week we had some weird scores. Mark kept George on the bottom of wherever he is. Anton beat me in a pillow fight, and that was the time to beat him, and I couldn't do it. Right. Don't know what to tell you. Carrick beat Duncan, and then Ben was able to upend Justin, who everybody seems to be worried about. So there's that. This coming week, I think we're coming back around to some of the similar matchups that we started with. Yep, that's what it looks like. It is myself against George. Ben's going to go against Carrick. Duncan and Mark do battle, and Anton and Justin do battle. The Safa battle. In the other land of fantasy, that would be the Rugby magazine. I
had Anton for a minute.
Yeah, you had him for a hot minute. You had him for a hot minute. I went. I dropped down to 4, which was my less than ideal thing. Actually, yeah, the thing I posted wasn't quite accurate because I did jump back ahead of Duncan. But yeah, I dropped down to 4. George jumped me. You had Anton for a hot minute, and then it went bye. But you know what? Quietly at the bottom, and it's really unfortunate he's at the bottom. Justin had a big week. 519.
Second overall?
Fourth overall. Fourth overall. Damn. Yeah, Byrne got subbed in for him. That was an upside. Simmons captained. Hugard, Red Rodro. That helps. Nick David on the wing for him, which was a big one. His locks were Dombrand and Kobus V's, who I don't love. Afoa, that was the other one. That was the other runner that.
Afoa, yeah.
John Afoa had a day. Yeah. So I did say if you had him, play him. But damn,
I did not have him. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. I wasn't adding him, but damn, that was a hell of a guy to have right there.
I'm just happy I was able to do so well with. I had Ben Spencer, who got a big old goose egg.
Oh God, that was a bad day for that.
I still ended up scoring pretty well.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's do the start sit thing. We can pick them and tell everybody bye bye.
All right,
Six Nations,
Italy versus France.
Yay!
Mentioned the guys I mentioned before. BG, Canone. Tommaso Allen, Tomato Tommaso, but Garbisi, if he's starting, he might be worth a bench spot. But again, I don't know who they're going for at 10. I'm assuming it'll be Tommaso Allen. And again, I'd like to see Varney at 9. So watch that space when they announced the lineup, which I think by the time we release this, it may be.
I'll try and post it right after this. But by the time you're listening to it, yes.
Right. For France, Olivon, Woki or Aldrit, whoever's in there, depending on the
good back row either way.
Whatever. Antoine Dupont, whoever's at 10, and the centers and wings should score well, but again, it might not be the guys that they're going to rely on. So.
Maybe don't have them if you didn't help it.
Yeah.
So if you have them and you've been silly enough to pick them, oh well, you've done that. Okay. I have the Calcutta Cup, England and Scotland. Should be an interesting opener for the guys the guys can score are probably the ones you play. It is a short competition, so if you take a swing with something a little different, swing hard. Okay. England usually have some of the better TRM scorers as well. Guys that probably aren't as high on everybody's list. Ben Earl, if he starts, you definitely are playing him without a doubt. I don't know if he's going to, but goddamn, that dude can score when he's on there. Johnny Hill, definitely somebody that enough people haven't picked up, and he will do just fine. I promise. That is a large target. Lineouts all day. He will do that all day and just not even bat an eye. I think he starts too. On the other side, a couple back rowers for England that I just don't trust anymore in this format. Billy V is one, just doesn't score for TRM as well as he does for his country. He just doesn't score in TRM. And then same with Courtney Laws, just doesn't score well in TRM. It's a little bit of a for the most part, but nope, not him. On the other side for the Scots, they do have some solid scorers as well, but again, we know England love to bring that bruising defense, so that makes it a little tough sometimes. The guys that are on there for Scotland that maybe you haven't quite thought about, Gary Graham. If he plays in the back row for the Scotland team, he will do well between tackling and ball carrying. The guy can do it. So
and this would be his kind of game. This is if they're gonna play him, this I think would be the game that they would want him for.
Yeah, and if he gets one of those offloads, he knows where to go. He's pretty good at it. He showed it for Scotland for Newcastle this past weekend. Another name that it's always a Scottish prop that we want to find because they seem to always have one really good one. It's been Sutherland, it's been Dell, and it's been Fagerson. Well, I'm going to go back to Dell. Alan Dell is a name. Okay. If he starts, play him.
He hasn't been scoring in the Prem though. That's my only concern.
But you know what? He somehow usually does an okay job for Scotland. I think he comes back around either way. So if he starts, play him.
And then he can absolutely put up points.
Yeah, he's done it before, so we'll see. On the other side of the category, two names that everybody's going to want to start, but this might not be the day to do it. Hoggy and Finn. I don't know if there's space for them. That's the problem. And also, I don't know what attacking style Gregor Townsend's going to bring to this tournament. And that's the other thing. So between those two things, I am erring on the side of caution. I love the two of them. Don't get me wrong, but this might be the day where you go bench spot, and that's it.
Yeah, right. To the last matchup, Wales Ireland. So Ireland are always going to be strong in defense. So it's gonna be hard to find points on Wales here. So keep that in mind as you select your team for this week. But Thomas Williams and Dan Bigger should still score very well. They actually, for oddly enough, Ireland do give up points to tens. To Sexton anymore. Sorry, I have something in my throat. But yeah, they so. Again, that channel will be available, and Thomas Williams and Bigger will hit it. And then that back row, Tipperick and Navidi. And then you got to keep an eye out for Louis Rees-Zammit just in case, because if he gets the chance and he gets the appearance, he could go. On the Ireland side, as I said, tag Furlong over Keen Healy for your team. Go with Furlong. He's the guy who will. He's the try scorer, so that's helpful. For your locks, James Ryan, Tyg Byrne is or Ian Henderson. They're all pick one because I'm going with Ryan only because I think he's going to be the guy no matter what. I think it'd be him, and the other lock will be Tyg Byrne or Ian Henderson.
I think you're probably spot on there. I see it. Yeah, I think you're spot on there.
CJ Stander in the back row, I think, is your best option. Peter Romani is decent as a tackler, but TRM is so balanced that you need somebody who can attack to make it worthwhile.
Correct.
So I'd go with CJ Stander, and then, as I've said a couple times on this pod, the back three.
Yeah, love it.
Especially Lowe and Keenan.
Yeah, love it all. All right, start of the week. I will. We'll go ladies first here. He's fresh. He's one of the most selected in TRM, and no matter the opponent, he typically scores. He'll be a problem at the Calcutta Cup, and we all know he does the things that score you points in this format. My start of the week for week one is Six Nations is England's talisman, second row, Ben Obano's cousin, Mr. Maro Itoje.
Fantastic get. And yes, absolutely.
Also that.
My start of the week is, we don't know who it is right now, but it's the person who is wearing the number 10 jersey for France.
Yeah, probably Jalibert.
I'm guessing it's Jalibert, so I'll say Jalibert. And yeah, I think he's going to run wild versus Italy.
Yeah, that's fine. That's probably a good call. So interesting enough, this might be a shot off the bow or over the whatever. This is going to be a shot in the dark either way. For my state of the week, a little counterintuitive given his opponent, but he's one of the 20 players that's 40% owned. Actually, that number of players may have gone up since 40% owned. He didn't score well last Six Nations, despite all he does for his country. I see him in a similar role for Les Bleus. My state of the week, despite playing against one of the poorest teams in the comp for round one, is France's center, Gael Fickou.
Oh, good. Yeah, good call. Definitely a good call there. My state of the week is going against the best defense in the competition. Strike one right there. And he's also just not a fantasy point scorer. He's a guy you want on your squad. He could end up winning man of the match without doing anything in fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's not really much of he may score a try here or there, but you can't rely on it. So just keep him. Don't touch. There's the every you might be tempted to, but sit Sean Maitland.
Hands off, Sean Maitland. Yeah,
stay away.
I love him, and he's just not going to quite do it in this comp probably.
Right. Like, I mean, seriously, because he's going to be there. Well, the bomb diffuser because under Ben Young's kicks and Ford's kicks,
right, and
Farrell's kicks, that's what they're going to do. He's going to be the one tasked with catching that pass, and he could still fall over the line at some point, and get man of the match. But
you don't want to lean on tries. If you can help it, you don't want to lean on tries. All right, let's go to the Prem. Bristol and Sale. This is actually a very interesting one for fantasy as well. Sale, once again, a black hole for fantasy points. First in FRD, second in TRM in points against per game. That said, this should be a true test of the fantasy value. And these Bristol players, Rads is matchup proof. Do not worry about it. I promise you he will be just fine. He's not going to score you 37 or 40 or whatever. He'll get you like high 20s. Don't worry about it. He's worth it. Get him in there. Brian Byrne, same thing. I think he's probably close to matchup proof as well. He's played so well for this club. Line out.
He's had a down game here or there, but
for the most part, again, it'll be probably a 25 point for him. It's not going to be 50 odd that he got last week. I understand, right. But you can still play him. You need those types of players in your squad. You'll be fine. Right. On the other side, Urine and O'Connor, TRM maybe. FRD, actually, that's probably the worst spot to play him, so don't play there. On the other side, Bristol, guess what? Second in points against in FRD, first in TRM, so they're just flipped. And Sales
aren't really big.
Sales struggle scoring points. Yep. So here we go. AJ, all good. He has been pretty solid, so that's a good option if you have him. Go ahead, make him your kicker. You'll be all right. JP Dupria is not owned enough. I cannot say this loud enough. He's not owned enough. He scores 20 plus except one match so far. He's done pretty well, and he does the things that you score your points in this format. So go get him. Lineup steals are huge, especially in FRD. Do it. So there's that. On the other side, Cobus Wies, it's time to move on from him. It's not worth it.
He had a good week this past week, but
that's the first good week he's had since I think the first start he had. It's not been. It's not been
a few weeks and moved on early already. But if you haven't by now, don't be
get rid of him. Yeah, Faf is far too highly owned for my liking, far too expensive, and producing far too little. So ditch him as fast as possible if you have him still. Doesn't do it.
On to back to my notes. Wasp Saints. So Northampton are actually showing a little bit of fortitude when it comes to defending forwards. So that kind of sucks for Wasps, doesn't it? So although James Gaskell, I think, will still score points because I think he's their only option really in the forwards at the moment, at least from the plugger and plug and chug perspective. Will Porter will score points. I guess it's going to be Gopperth at 10.
Maybe
because Sopoaga had to come off hurt. I don't know what his status is.
He looked a little rusty. Not good.
Right. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but I still think Bassett and Kibarigi should have a pretty good day. On the other side, as we talked, Wasps are leaking points.
Yeah.
Can't defend anywhere, and it's only going to be worse because they're without so many players now.
Yeah, no, and it's going to end poorly, as it were.
Right. So James Grayson, look his way. He's shown a propensity to put up some points here or there, inconsistently, but again, this is the opportunity, so he'll do okay. Right. I think there's going to be somebody for Saints who's probably going to be pissed off that he's playing for Saints, and that'll be the one Rory Hutchinson.
Oh yeah, right.
Who also had a day this past week. I think you're going to see more of that. And then the big man. It's been a while since we've busted up the large man's name, but especially in FRD, if you've got him or if he's hanging around the waiver wire, which I doubt, but maybe people just aren't patient enough for him. It's Tekeli Nairavora.
Big T.
And then again, Matt Proctor has been just scoring points lately in both formats. So I think he's also pretty cheap in TRM.
He's not too bad. He's mid twos, I think.
Yeah, low twos, 237.
There you go.
So yeah, and he's just like as I said, he's been scoring points. So look his way.
Worth the grab. Bath Quins. Quins have been generous. 9th in points against per game in both formats, though they have stiffened up just a wee bit. Giggity. For Bath, Mercer's still been fairly quality even when Bath are poor. So, yep, that's probably the one guy I'd lean on. Stuke should start if Yules is away. So, I like Elliot Stuke. I don't mind either one of them, honestly. But I do like Stuke a little bit more than the rest, but still quality just the same. On the other side, Spencer is dropping off like off a cliff lately, which is really unfortunate. Starting to get to gotta see it. I'll play him in FRD, but that's probably I'm going to look for another option in TRM. Also, his partner Priest, another one. This is actually a tough group to play against. Fly half wise for FRD, and there's better options for TRM. So I'm going to say no Priest this weekend. Bath are the most generous on the other side, fantasy wise, and it's by a good margin thanks to the last 2 matches that they played. So for Quins, quietly doing work and playing well this year is Will Evans, and he's not super expensive, so that's one to go. Louis Lina seems to have turned a corner as well, so if he's starting, he might be worth grabbing because he seems to have kind of started to figure this thing out, this whole rugby thing. On the other side, Wilco Lowe's probably a little too expensive for my liking, and Bath are still fairly decent against props, so that might not be quite the way I lean. And James Chisholm still has a higher ownership percentage than I would like, and I don't think he does enough. So go ahead and bench that guy too.
So the Exiles hosting Gloucester. Gloucester are weird defensively, but again, they're giving up. So they're giving up points to eights, but holding down flankers. So I don't quite understand that, but there you are. Fun fact. But the Irish front row in both formats, and in both formats, I mean by their individual players in TRM and obviously the front row and
FRD. Yeah,
they're just scoring points. Have you heard this guy Creevy, this young kid that apparently they got out of
they were talking about all the Wallaby caps, and I'm like, oh yeah, that guy too, right there, that's throwing the ball in, that's played for Argentina a billion times.
So he's just racking up points. So and I think he's expensive, but maybe worth it. Curtis Rona is a guy you're gonna
I really like him.
Right, he should be on your team if especially in FRD, he should be owned, but if he's not,
go scoop him up now. Good Lord.
And then the back three, the Loader, Stokes, Parton. Fuck
yeah, I'm loving Tom Parton now, especially.
I'm very happy I picked him up ahead of Anton. So
good job.
Right, I didn't even know I was a race, but I'm glad I won. On the Gloucester end, the Irish are stronger versus backs than forwards, but then again, is Evans okay? So our backs even something to worry about. But then so you got to kind of look for your studs for that team, and it's Lewis Ludlow will be a tackling machine. So definitely in TRM somebody to look at. FRD, he'll get you solid points, and every so often he might go off, but he's not consistent that way.
Correct.
As more of a defensive player. Willie Hines seems to be back, as is Ollie Thorley. So those guys still may shine, even though the backs are iffy here. And Alamano, hi.
Yeah, it's been quite good.
Yeah.
Been quite good.
Start looking his way too.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Leicester Worcester. Worcester aren't quite the fantasy sieve they once were, middling in both formats, but still surrender points by the buckets to certain spots. So for Leicester, Matt Scott or Maroney, either one, if whoever's wearing that 13 shirt for Leicester, go ahead. That's definitely some place that Worcester seems to be getting blown open without Ollie Lawrence hanging around. So, and also Callum Green, another one, and this is kind of the theme right now, quietly going about his work and scoring well. That's probably not a bad one. I'm a Callum Green fan personally as well. So sorry he's playing for Leicester, but c'est la vie. On the other side, Zach Henry, strangely, Worcester are poor against fly halves in TRM, but strong against them in FRD. So TRM, if you have them, thumbs up. If you have to play them in FRD, nope. And then Dan Cole, just stop, people. Stop buying him. Stop owning him. Get rid of him. He doesn't do anything. And he's still in the high twos, I think, maybe high threes. But yeah, no. Get rid of him. He doesn't do anything, and Worcester actually pretty good against props. On the other end, Leicester have shown some strength fantasy-wise in the last couple of weeks. Third in TRM again in points against per game. Sixth in FRD, so a little bit more leaky there. For the Warriors, Nick David, Leicester are tough against OBs, but he's been very consistent this year as a player. I think he's going to be fine in this match, especially since Weir's hanging around still. Annette should be good, well priced as well. That's a good hooker option, especially if Akker is not good to go this week, which he dropped late last week. So everybody hit the panic button then. Yeah. Oh no! On the other side, Andrew Kitchener. I don't trust any Worcester second row, especially him. He's the highest owned, so no. That's why I'm naming him. Many are going to be excited to see Ashton at six ways. This is not the time to play him, though. Don't get cute. So yeah. All right. You got one more?
Yep. Newcastle versus Exeter.
So you do have one more, don't you?
Right. Exeter are leaky now, so
yeah. Wow.
Don't shy away from going with your Newcastle people. Okay. That sentence last year would have made no fucking sense. I would have punched myself for saying it.
No shit, right?
Okay, Exeter are leaky now. What the fuck? So don't shy away from using your Newcastle players. Well, wait.
Wait a minute. Did I just take my crazy juice or what?
Yeah. Even the last 2 years, that would have been something insane to say.
Absolutely.
When Newcastle were up in the Premier.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You didn't have them on your team at all. If you wanted to do well, all of a sudden here they are. And of course, damn it, I'm going to plug the Yank, Greg Peterson.
Hey-o.
He may steal some lineouts. There's Exeter's lineout is not. Without those freaking twin towers and
I know, without Hill especially and Engray obviously, but yeah.
So on that, for that matter, McGuigan. You don't have to worry about lineouts from them. Should be open season for Newcastle's lineout. Sean Robinson, same idea. Philip Vanderwalt. I would stick more with the forwards for Newcastle because we noted the 10. Who the fuck knows who's going to be playing 10?
Yeah, no, that's been the problem for them at this point.
And distribution's been a problem. So yeah, keep it.
Agreed.
Look more to the forwards, especially because Exeter are going to be hitting the forwards, so you're going to be getting tackles from the Newcastle forwards. So on to Exeter, they're struggling to score too. So and without all these guys who are away, their best players being away, well, except for Sam. But their front row should actually be okay. Yandel is pretty good.
He's quite good, yeah.
And they still have some decent props that aren't away. So Start their front row. You should be all right with them. Sam Skinner, I've been plugging him whenever I can. I think he's going to play a huge role through Six Nations, so he might be one to pick up in TRM for the time being, while some internationals may be away. And Sam Simmons, as always,
Yeah.
And I'm, I've been selling on Joe Simmons for a little bit from a fantasy perspective, and I think it's time now. See if you can trade him in FRD. If you got him, there's going to be someone out there who's going to want him, who's going to be like, "Oh, Joe Simmons, fuck yeah, I'll take Joe Simmons and his 5 points a game." But they don't know that, so shh. But seriously, I know some leagues he was a first round pick. Some cases like a 2 overall to 3 overall. He's very well wanted, but he's not going to produce. He's not worth it. You can fleece somebody right now.
Yeah, you might be able to. You might be able to do that. Okay. Of the weeks, my picks for the week actually have a pretty noticeable theme. We'll get to them. So why am I not going to pick somebody from this club considering their opposition? He is against the most porous defense. He's fantastic form. He's just excited to stay with this club. And what's not to like about that? My start of the week for round 8 of the Prem is the man they call DC at the Stoop, Quinn's and England scrum half, Danny Kerr.
Good call. My start of the week is actually, and both my start of the week and sit of the week were mentioned by one of us who were evaluating the team. So my start of the week is someone who I got to evaluate, and I just was selling like crazy, obviously. So it's the London Irish front row and Augustin Creevy.
Ooh, yes, I love me Gus Creevy.
But any of those tight fives or any of those front threes would be good.
Should do well, yeah.
For the Irish this weekend.
Quite good. On the other side, we talked a lot about guys that do a lot for their club, country, whatever. But like my Six Nations set of the week, doesn't usually translate to fantasy points in this guy's case. He's also going against an opposition that is on fire and really tough to find points against. Also, I don't like him. So it is with a bit of a smile on my face that I named my set of the week for round 8 of the Prem. The Tyrion Jamie crossover, Sale and Springbrooks halfback, Francois Faf de Klerk.
I like that for a couple of reasons myself. Nice. So my set of the week is you actually pointed him out in your evaluation of his match. He hasn't been scoring, and his team is playing like utter dog crap. So at this point, if you can, especially in FRD, I'm trying to figure that out myself right now, because I have him and Lloyd Evans, and I don't think I want to play either of them this week. So my sit of the week is Reese Priestland.
Oh yeah. Tough week for the Priest. It's not going to go well. Okay, let's go to pick them real quick here for the Prem. Bristol. Hold on. I messed up. That is not the one we want. We want Bristol Sale.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to take the Bears.
I'm also going to take the Bears. I think the unstoppable force beats the immovable object.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, so that's the one Friday match. On Saturday, Wasps and Saints. Oh boy, this is actually very interesting considering both teams' form. I think I want to go.
Okay. Now, once again, 9. Look at the 9 and 10 here.
Right. I don't know. See, I don't know if Mitchell's playing. I'm going to assume he's playing for Northampton.
I'm assuming he's not. I'm assuming that Shadow squad is they have to be in the protocol, right?
Okay, that might be a good point. Okay, that's so.
I think that's the assumption I'm making anyway.
Yeah, but even I liked what Northampton did last week, so I'm going to take them.
I am too. It's like because I like what I like Will Porter, but I still think that the Saints will have the edge at 9-10, and who's playing centers for Wasps at that point? So once you you'll pull Gopperth in.
And it's Fekito and Bourgeois or Fekito and
mean,
maybe I will say Miller played a lot better last week than a lot of the Wasp players when he came on. So maybe he gets a shot, and maybe he's somewhat of a solidifying factor in there. But I don't know that, and I'm not super comfortable with making that prediction. So
right,
yeah,
either way, as long as Hutchinson avoids Fekitoa, it'll go very well for Saints.
Yeah, Fekitoa might play 12, so.
And Hutch was at 13, so
that'll make life easier.
Whichever combination it is, they just have to figure out a way to get Hutchinson away from Fekitoa.
Yeah.
Get him away from him.
Stay there
and get him. Yeah, run him lines away from him, and things will go just fine for you.
Agreed. Okay, let's try and rattle these ones off. Bath Quins. Irish Gloucester. Irish. Yeah.
Who's playing 10 for Gloucester?
Yeah, I know. Maybe George Barton. Jeez. Yeah. Leicester Worcester. I don't like picking this, but I'm going to do it, Leicester.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And all of that. I'm not even going to say
it. Newcastle Exeter. Up at the Kingspan.
I got Newcastle.
You know what I meant. Yeah. Up in Newcastle. That's the word.
Worcester almost had Exeter in Exeter. So
no, that was at Six Ways, I think.
Was it? Oh, I think you're right. It was at Six Ways.
Yeah. Yeah, but still that's a long trip. That's a long trip up north.
Newcastle is that much better than Worcester, though. So that's why I'm going with them.
Okay, cool. So we ran a little long. If you didn't notice, we did a pretty cool little segment there with James. So that's why it ran a little long. Sorry, but not sorry. We will. We'll be back to being brief next week. I promise, or as brief as we possibly can be. But until then, buy Georgia coffee. Get your TRM upgrades. Be on the lookout for us in our watch-a-thon. Fantasy Rugby Podcast at gmail.com. I say there's one more thing I wanted to say. Download us, rate us, and we will catch you guys next week. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us, guys. Have a good one.
Later.
Cheers.